Hey guys. Now it's probably one of the biggest features to be reintroduced into the Battlefield series once more. In fact, new or old, it's probably the one feature a lot of fans are looking forward to, veterans and new players alike. Veterans want to experience the nostalgia of commanding the battlefield like they did in Battlefield 2, and new players want to know what it's like to wield the power and play Battlefield in a way they never thought possible. No matter what type of player you are, there is so much to take in with the new Commander mode that I will endeavour to go through it all in a concise and informative manner. Now, two things. Firstly, I have the man flu. It's like death. I'm bunged up, you will be able to hear that, but that's not going to stop me from making videos. Secondly, I've got some Battlefield 3 footage in the background, but that won't be there for long as I'll be using various Commander videos and screenshots to walk you guys through the Commander mode. When there is no video or screenshot needed though, I will jump back to some footage to keep you lovely people amused. So let's get started. First of all, let me explain how you become a Commander. Commander is now no longer a role you pick when you are in the game. Unlike in Battlefield 2, in Battlefield 4 if you want to be a Commander in a server, you join as a Commander to begin with, and you are not able to jump into the game as a soldier. If you join as a Commander, it is because you want to fulfill these Commander duties rather than run around, and you'll remain Commander unless you are voted out by your team, which is indeed possible if you are not doing your required duties. Alongside this, there are 64 slots maximum in a Battlefield 4 server. Of course, depending on how it's set up, it might be a 32 slot server, but there is always a maximum of 64. Commanders do not eat into these slots. Each server has an extra 2 slots specifically for the Commanders. So if your server is a 64 slot server, effectively it will be a 66 slot server when you take into account the Commanders if they are indeed enabled. As a side note, there doesn't have to be a Commander in-game either. Server admins can decide if they want to enable Commander in the server settings, meaning that if they wish to have their server not utilise the Commander function, they can. The choice is theirs. I imagine it will state in the Battlelog server details if Commander is indeed functioning on a server or not. Now quickly, what is Commander? Well, the Commander is like a strategy element that is played alongside the FPS side of the game. It allows one player on each team to oversee the battle and to have an overview when they can provide support and tactics to aid their team in winning. They can command squads and give orders and directions which the squad leaders can either accept or deny, but a commander needs their squads to comply to give the best possible commander support. Okay, so you load up the battle log and you join a server as a commander in the server browser. So what now? Now you have the power, it's time to decipher what is at your disposal. So there are basically 2 ecosystems or loops running in parallel when you play as the commander. The squad loop and then the main commander assets loop. Now this may sound confusing, but let me break it down. Essentially you have progress bars that rank up during the game for various actions being completed. Once they're at a certain level, you can use these built up points on certain commander items. Let me explain further. Okay, so the squad loop is fairly simple. It is very similar to the field upgrades in the main game. Each squad that the commander oversees has a progress bar that is filled up by the squad completing commander objectives that were set to them. So for instance, attack here, defend here, etc. So any commander scoring event goes towards this progress bar. Now as this progress bar gets filled, there are 4 main things that the commander can use these points for. And they are squad promotion, which boosts the squad members' individual field upgrade bars towards the next unlock. They can use a vehicle drop to deploy a quad bike or light boat depending on the terrain via parachute. They can use rapid deploy, which will cut the squad's spawn time in half for a fixed period of time. And they can use supply drop, which will deploy a large crate that will heal, resupply and repair friendly units. In addition, friendly units will be able to change kits on the field via this supply drop, which is actually quite an interesting tactical addition to the game. Let me say this, these that I have listed are only the confirmed items. There are some further items on some screenshots, but it's not entirely clear how they fit in, and they might indeed be in one of these categories. These are the officially confirmed items. Now each one of these items costs points from this squad progress bar, and of course when one of the items is used, that takes away from the remaining amount. Each item costs a certain amount of points, so for instance, squad promotion will cost a lot less than a supply drop will. But once you've used that, it then subtracts from what you have remaining in the progress bar, and the squad must carry on completing objectives to refill it. So you get the point. This of course continues over the course of the game and is based on each individual squad. They fulfill orders, objectives, the commander gets points which he can use to give back to the squad. He could use small ones regularly or wait for a build up and use one huge supply drop. It's entirely up to him. So next we have the main assets loop. This is where all the cool stuff happens. Now unlike the squad loop that is based on squads earning commander points, which are then used to give benefits, this system works slightly differently. The main assets can be obtained by the team owning certain objectives and are gone once the objectives are lost or destroyed. Now it's not clear exactly what assets will be available on each map, but it's fair to say it will differ, so don't expect all these assets to be available on each map. It's similar to how it worked in Armoured Kill, when your team would gain the AC-130 when you held a certain flag, and this works exactly the same way. If your team owns certain objectives, those objectives will give specific tools to your commander, but he will lose those tools if the team loses the flag. Now depending on map and game mode, these assets are the following. The cruise missile, which is launched from a fixed position on the map. They will fly at cruising altitude before dropping into an arc at the designated point, wiping out anything in the vicinity. Their power is substantial, and that is why a good commander will use the cruise missile warning asset whenever possible. You also have two types of map scans, a vehicle and an infantry scan, used for long-term highlighting of enemy units on the map for your team. You also have the already mentioned AC-130 gunship. As seen in the Commander Mode videos and in Battlefield 3's Armoured Kill, this powerful plane provides ground support for multiple weapons, as well as a mobile spawn point covering a large section of the map. Now it's not mentioned on the blog, but we've also had confirmation that the commander will have submarine strikes available to him as an asset on certain maps, which is pretty cool. It's also shown on the screenshot of an asset named the M1 Abrams tank, but it's unclear exactly how that will be used. Again, this list is the officially listed ones. There may be more, and there may even be more added in as the game goes on. Something that is very new to the Commander Mode though is the addition of the high value target option. It essentially means that a commander can put a target on players on the enemy team who are on a 6 or more kill streak. Once this target is placed on them, they are visible to the whole team for 45 seconds. The high value target can gain bonus points for not being killed during this time, but of course the commander's team also gets bonus points if they can kill him. It's a neat new addition. Now it's important to note at this point that the Commander Mode will not be on every single game mode. I believe it has been confirmed for Conquest and Rush. Of course game modes like TDM it will not be available on, so just bear that in mind. So we now know what the commander is and what he has at his disposal, and we've seen the screens and how it looks, but let's go into a little bit more detail. So in the top left we have the main assets loop that I've just talked about. Then on the far right, and of course on the map overview itself, we have the squad assets at the commander's disposal. On the left hand side we can see the progress for this particular squad in the squad loop bar, so they are currently at level 2 of the 4 level progress. Under this we have the current game scoring and flag cap diagram, and below that we have a player cam showcasing a first person view of the battle. So that is exactly how Battlefield 4 Commander works. But in Battlefield 4 though, they've gone one step further than just being able to join a Commander game on your PC. With Battlefield 4's Commander Mode you were also able to play the game directly on a tablet device. Now on screen is the Commander screen from a tablet, and you'll probably notice there is a slight difference, but not a game breaking one. Firstly, there is no in-player view on the tablet version. Not surprisingly that it was just too much for a tablet to handle. Also the level of detail in the map is vastly reduced, but once again that is not a big game breaker for me. In terms of the overall layout though, the layout is the same, and the commanders on tablet have the exact same items at their disposal. The addition of the tablet commander really is a very cool addition, and I can guarantee you I'll try it out on both PC and tablet when the game launches in October. The commanders really are in the best position in the battlefield. They have front row seats and get to sit comfortably and watch the action unfold with an unparalleled overview. With their top-down access and full squad access, they more than anyone else can really dictate how the game pans out. But more than that, they can really affect the outcome. They can either make or break their team, and it cannot be understated how important a commander's role will be in the final game. I hope this information has been useful and concise to all of you, and if it has, then please like and subscribe. Why not even share if you think it was useful, and it will be useful to other people to understand commander mode. As always guys, I'm thankful that you've tuned in, and I will catch you on the next one.